Welcome to Spring Training, a 9-week-long series from Cannon Church. I'm Tim Emmett, the senior pastor at Cannon, and during spring training, we're connecting the game of baseball and the Christian faith. On October 7th, 1867, with his team, the Brooklyn Excelsiors, down by a run, future Hall of Famer, 18-year-old pitcher William "Candy" Cummings did something that no pitcher had ever done in the history of the game. He snapped his wrist just at the moment of release so that the ball would break away from the batter as it approached the plate. The hitter, the other team's best slugger, swung and missed. He missed the ball by over a foot. It was history's first curveball. No one else had ever thrown a curve before that. Everyone else had only thrown fastballs. Later, Cummings would say that when he saw that ball break and their hitter swing and miss it by a foot, he was filled with an overwhelming joy. It worked. He'd been dreaming that moment for years. In fact, the idea of the curveball first came to him when he was 14 years old. He was at the beach with some friends. They were throwing seashells, and he watched those seashells curve in the wind. He began to think to himself, what if I could get a baseball to do that? Early on, he just thought it would be a fun trick to play on his friends, but as he worked on that over the months and the years that followed, he realized that pitch, if he ever perfected it, if he could ever control it, would be absolutely devastating in a real game. October 7th, 1867, the moment was finally ripe for him to unveil this pitch that no one expected, no one had seen, and it absolutely worked all day long. That rest of that game, the other team's batters flailed unsuccessfully trying to hit that pitch. Of course, it caught on. Cummings threw the curveball all season long. Other pitchers watched what he was doing. They imitated his motion, then adapted it for themselves, and it changed the game forever. On Good Friday, on Golgotha, on the cross, God threw a curve. It was history's greatest curve. It was a pitch that no one saw coming. Everyone knew, everyone believed. For centuries, the people of God had expected that God would set right and heal the whole world in the way the world had always done business, with brute force, with a fastball, blow it by him. They fully expected that when God's Messiah, the anointed one of God, was finally on the earth, he would do what David did, just kind of supersize it. He would gather the troops, marshal the armies, defeat Israel's enemies, and establish God's kingdom forever in the Holy Land. No one expected the curve that God threw. No one expected that the Messiah would suffer and die a brutal, humiliating death on the cross. But they should have seen it coming. Because God had made clear in the centuries before that the problem with the world isn't out there. It's not those people out there, them and their ways. The problem's in here. The heart of the problem is the problem of the heart. We are bent toward sin, bent toward self, bent toward idols. Brute force will not fix the human heart. Only the cross, only God's self-giving, sacrificial love can heal our hearts. On Good Friday, God threw a curve that no one saw coming, but everyone should have expected, because what's wrong with the world isn't those people over there, it's this person in here. You know, when William "Candy" Cummings started that trend and threw the first curve, the whole game had to adjust. Hitters, of course, had to figure out how to identify the curve, see the curve coming, and then hit the curve. Umpires had to change the way they called pitches. Early on, when Cummings and others would throw the curve, if it started out going toward the batter, the umpires would call a ball, even if the ball curved and crossed the plate. Likewise, if the ball started out going across the plate, they'd call a strike, even if the ball curved and went wide of the plate when it came to the batter. They had to wait and see where the ball crossed, not just where it was heading. Most of all, catchers had to change. Not most of all, but the catchers also had to change. Before the invention of the curveball, catchers would set up 20 or 25 feet behind home plate, just kind of wait back there for the ball to arrive. You cannot catch a curve in that way. You know, we receive the curve that God threw, not through brute force, but through faith and then self-giving love. We can't go about business as usual if we believe that history was changed forever by Jesus on the cross. We can't follow the world and its devotion, its faith in brute force. Instead, we're invited, we're called, we're summoned to follow Jesus and to receive his self-giving love and then share that with others. On Good Friday, on Golgotha, on the cross, God threw history's greatest curve. It's a pitch that no one saw coming, but everyone needed and everyone needs. Have you received the gift of God's self-giving love? Will you share God's gift of self-giving love? That's inning 3 of spring training. I hope you have a great week and you come back for inning 4.